So here's another very short section. Monroe was struggling inside the United States with sectionalism increasing, but we have to also look outside. And so this section is about the Monroe Doctrine. This is all about our relationships with other countries. Let's start with Great Britain. We always have to start with Great Britain. Well, in 1817, we had signed the Rush-Bagot Treaty. Britain and the U.S., we agreed to kind of cool our jets, basically. We agreed to limit the number of vessels on the Great Lakes. Remember, the Great Lakes is kind of in disputed territory. We also agreed to disarm along the border between the U.S. and Canada, British Canada. And then this expanded in 1818 to create the official boundary of the U.S. and British Canada at the 49th parallel. That means that Oregon is technically below the 49th parallel. And so the discussion, parts of Oregon were below the 49th parallel. So the Oregon country would be a shared location. We would share that location. So things are going pretty well with the British. Now keep in mind we have kicked their butt twice, so they're willing to negotiate with us. So now we need to look at the relationships with Spain. In 1818, Andrew Jackson, after having just won the Battle of New Orleans, invades East Florida and seizes control of 2 Spanish forts. Now, Spain, of course, wanted Jackson to be punished because he just simply attacked Spain. What reason did he have to attack Spain? But the Secretary of State at the time was John Quincy Adams, and he disagreed. In fact, he felt that Spain would be willing to settle this whole dispute, even though Jackson seized control on Spanish territory, to avoid a war. And he was right. Spain did not want a war with the United States. So Spain and the United States signed the Adams-Oñez Treaty. Spain, in this treaty, gave East Florida to the United States and basically gave up West Florida as well, all of Florida, because they abandoned all claims to Florida. In return, the United States gave up any claim on Texas. Remember, it's controlled by the Spanish at the time. Spain owns Mexico. So the United States has to deal with Spain over Texas. Now, $5 million worth of damages American citizens had basically accrued against the Spanish, on the Spanish, and Spain said we want to be paid for that. The American government agreed to pay $5 million to Spain for these damages. And they also agreed on a border between the U.S. and Spanish possessions in the West. So things seem to be going well. We've got things figured out with the British. We've got agreements there. We've got agreements with the Spanish. Spanish no longer control Florida, which makes us happy. And things seem to be going well. But it would not last long. You see, Spain wasn't just having difficulties with the United States. One of the reasons why they wanted to avoid war with us is they're having some big problems in South America. They had colonies all over everywhere down there. Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Bolivia, Ecuador, Brazil, and Mexico were all fighting the Spanish for independence. These were Spanish colonies. Spain did not need to fight with the United States. That's why they were happy to sign off on this deal. Well, in 1822, Spain asks many other European countries to help them. They are so out of control fighting all these countries and all of these people that they need help from Europe. Now, this is what made President Monroe very nervous. The possibility of some of the largest European countries coming to the Americas. And remember, Mexico is not very far. None of these are really all that far from the United States. This made President Monroe take action. December 2nd, 1823, President Monroe issues a statement. It's known as the Monroe Doctrine. He states in this that the U.S. would not interfere in existing European colonies in the Americas. So Spain, you can have all the colonies you want to down there. But we would oppose any new ones. So France, you want to come over here and help Spain, but then take over that colony. No, the United States will get involved. He said very frankly, North and South America are, and I quote from the document, henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers. North and South America are off limits. You will leave us alone and the rest of this hemisphere. This is a very bold statement for Monroe to make. Extremely bold. He could have started World War I, essentially. But he had to take a stand because these countries, European countries, coming over this close, when would it stop? So, we are going to do an activity on the Monroe Doctrine in class. This is it for this section. I told you it was short, sweet, and to the point.